WWE Wrestlepalooza match card predictions. I'm Will, that's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers and talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, we're a few weeks away from a super packed weekend of wrestling. So we thought, why not look ahead? Why not guess the match card? Obviously, a lot of people do these videos, but they're fun. Let's see, are we right? Are we wrong? I think we did this for Clash. I think we had all of the matches some way, somehow, because you had the Donnybrook match. I had the Tribal Thief Chief match. So we're getting pretty decent at this stuff.
Yeah, getting pretty decent, which means we're due to fail. But this one seems pretty predictable. I'm expecting our cards to be very similar. Again, we do not show each other our cards before it starts. For everything else for us, though, make sure to stop by our live stream and all that stuff. COD Wrestle Pod. Let's get into this mess, though. Let's start with the one we know. Monday Night Raw, the first of the Wrestlepalooza match card got announced. It is going to be Iyo Sky taking on Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship. Just early thoughts on that. Was that the right decision for WWE?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've kind of maybe defended WWE a lot in terms of, hey, they had to pivot on a dime here. I mean, this is kind of the best of a situation that they didn't know what to do. You have the former champ versus the number one contender. I feel like it makes sense. It does kind of suck, though. Admittedly, story-wise, Steph has had no story. She has not been on screen at all, right? And then in terms of Iyo, she's wrapped up in some other stories. So it kind of makes it like, in terms of the build, in terms of like the actual match. I'm sure they'll do something in the next couple weeks that'll help build it up. But you know, as soon as that bell rings, you're like, yeah, this is the right match for this.
I understand the sentiment of some people who are like, oh, well, that was it. Like, because logically, it is like Iyo was going to fight Naomi before she got pregnant or before she announced her pregnancy. And Stephanie Vaquer is the number one contender. So, like, logically, those two now fight for it. But it's like they did the whole multi-week build up to it. And Adam Pearce did the whole, like, I will announce it next week on Raw. And so, like, immediately you start just... You know, like naturally we start fantasy booking in our head. It's like, oh, well, Iyo's doing the Kabuki Warrior stuff. Like maybe it's Bianca Belair returning. Maybe it's something ridiculous. And so then when it comes out as Iyo Sky, it's like we all know 5-star match is about to happen. But at the same time, it's like, no, but all those fun ideas that I built up in my own head didn't happen. So like I'm kind of sad. So like I'm looking forward to it, but I wish they would have had like a little bit more fun with it. But it's totally fine. It's gonna be awesome. We'll move on though. Do you want to go first or me to take your first match?
I guess we'll go this way. How many matches do you have?
I got 6.
Okay, I have 7. So let's let. I guess I go first then, right? I do have 6 on here that I think are going to happen, and I have one that I put on as like an iffy, just because of some developments that we've seen recently. So I'll go ahead. I'll take the easy one. I'll take the one that we find out probably this week on SmackDown. I'm taking Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus CM Punk and AJ Lee, the mixed tag match, Wrestlepalooza. I mean, what a way to kind of ring in Wrestlepalooza, right? Everybody's building this up, and this has been a great feud, obviously. CM Punk, Seth Rollins. You have Becky introducing herself into the vision. You're like, ooh, I like this. Where can they possibly go with this? Oh, well, let's just elevate it to a whole nother level, right? And you're like, oh my God. It's a return that we don't think, or I didn't think we'd ever really get again, even though the Royal Rumble always comes around and people throw the name out and you're like, yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't make sense. This makes perfect sense. This is fantastic. This is really kind of like one of the feuds going on right now that you're like, yeah, I'm excited to give this to me as much as you really can.
I 100% have this on my match card, and this is 100% happening. I mean, look at all the reports throughout the week. I know a lot of them aren't credible, but come on, the writing's on the wall here. I mean, Becky Lynch was even eating away at the fans when they were yelling her name on Monday night. She was saying, you know, that buffoon or whatever she called her hasn't worked here in 10 years or whatever. It has to happen. I cannot wait for it to happen on multiple levels. It's like, it's going to be amazing to see AJ Lee for one. She may get pop of the year whenever she returns for sure. And then I like intergender matches. I always like the mixed tag team stuff, like the mixed tag tournament we had years ago. Absolutely love that. Wish they brought that back. And then it's 4 people who I'm bought into every single one of them. And it's like they're also real life relationships. This is freaking awesome. I can't wait for it to happen. It's going to be the biggest match at WrestlePalooza, in my opinion, by far.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. And then you look at it in terms of, I know people have some probably injury concerns about AJ, deservedly so, right? That makes sense. But luckily, in a tag match like this, you can do that. You can kind of protect her and go kind of that way. So storyline, it just makes a whole lot of sense. It's one of those things that, like, for lack of a better term, it's kind of a dream match if you're getting on WrestlePalooza.
Hey, we'll throw this in here just because we're talking about it, and I think we have to. this Friday night, SmackDown is happening in Chicago. CM Punk has announced that he is going to be there. Is SmackDown on Friday where we get the return of AJ Lee?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has to be, right? You have CM Punk's hometown, right? AJ Lee there. Reports are that they're opening up seating, opening up sections of the seating. All the tickets are selling out. So you know they're going to be doing something big, right? It has to be. The pop's going to be tremendous. It's going to be crazy. It might even be bigger than when Punk went back to Chicago. I mean, it's going to be deafening. No other place I'd really probably rather have it, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep, I think it's going to happen. I think it's 100% happening. And, SmackDown has been rather boring lately. I would say at the very least, it's been boring. And, we're getting John Cena's last appearance in Chicago. Chicago by itself elevates the WWE and wrestling as a whole whenever they're in that city. And then if you add an AJ Lee return with CM Punk already in the ring in the middle of Chicago, oh my God, we're setting up for one of the best wrestling moments of the entire year from any company. So I expect her to be there. I can't wait for her to be there. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. We'll move it on though. I guess I'm up first. Or second.
Yeah.
We'll go with the other one that's been rumored ever since SummerSlam. I do have John Cena taking on Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza. I think ESPN is going to pull out all the stops for this one. I mean, Netflix, the first Netflix episode, they pulled out all the stops for them, and I expect nothing less for ESPN. ESPN, they might pull out even more stops because that's a wider audience. Really, that's designated to sports fans, and they are leaning into the realism of WWE lately, especially with things like Unreal coming out. So Brock Lesnar is a household name to people even outside of WWE at this point. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, WrestlePalooza. That just sounds like it's going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, household name for sure, from whether it was wrestling in college and high school and stuff, and then you have the MMA. You even had the football tryouts with the Vikings, right? So very household name at this point. If you don't really know even WWE or wrestling, some way, somehow you know who that is, right? Yep. So it just makes sense, especially with, Lesnar coming back at that point at SummerSlam. There are reports saying that Lesnar's going to be on the last two SmackDowns right before that.
Yep.
It all just kind of makes sense. So I have that on my card as well. Let's go to one here that I don't know how they get to this match, but you just talked about them pulling out all the stops, right? Well, I think somebody that's going to be on the card is somebody who hasn't been on the card or the shows recently. I got Cody Rhodes coming back versus Drew McIntyre. Now, yes, you may say Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. Why wouldn't you just throw that on there? I think Cody Rhodes has a lot of crossover appeal, a lot of mainstream appeal. He does a lot of different things in terms of when he goes to the sporting events, he's the guy that helps present belts. He's the one that does a lot of different things. And in terms of having all your chips in a basket, having all the main players there, we both kind of agree. I would assume Roman's not going to be there. Well, if Roman's not there, to me, I think Cody kind of has to be there. There has to be, one of those two guys there. I don't know how they do that because I think the easy answer is Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. That seems, that's what they've shown you, right? But I think Cody Rhodes some way, somehow gets on there.
I'm with you. I think Cody Rhodes will be at WrestlePalooza. I don't think he'll be in a match at WrestlePalooza. I went ahead and did the Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and because I think we're going to do it to where Cody Rhodes does get involved in this match. I think maybe we have Randy Orton setting up for a punt and Cody Rhodes runs out there. Maybe it's a situation where Cody Rhodes is like, look, I don't like Drew McIntyre either, but don't punt him into oblivion, basically. And I think the WrestlePalooza match of Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre is going to lead into a triple threat match where we get Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes for the championship. I just think you throw all the three top big stars from SmackDown into one match down the road, maybe at Survivor Series or something like that. And I think it starts at WrestlePalooza with Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre with a returning Cody Rhodes at the end of the match.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility there. The reason why I also kind of held off on the run-in interference, I know WWE
loves it.
I don't know why I almost said that like Vladimir Kozlov, but I know they love their interferences and all that stuff. I do think there's other matches that have that stuff, including the Iyo Stephanie one that we talked about. I think that has one. I think there's a potential if there's some other matches on the card, there may get some there. So it's how many can you really throw on to that opening kind of card, right? And in terms of all of the stuff from the announcement that WWE is going to ESPN, you had interviews with Rollins, you had interviews with Punk, you had interviews with Cody. So for me, it's I feel like that's just a box they're going to somehow check. I just don't know how they get there.
Yeah, you do. It feels like you need to make it obvious he's going to be there for WrestlePalooza. This isn't No Mercy, a Bad Blood, where like he could do the run in at the end of the show. It would feel better if we knew he was going to be involved. Maybe before we get to Wrestlepalooza, maybe we insert him as a special guest referee or something. I don't know, something ridiculous of that matter. It's just we haven't seen him at all lately, and it's weeks away, but it feels so close. Yeah. And it's like, how are we really going to just insert him right back into it? Right. So I went with the Randy.
And I have the jacket on, so I have to put Cody on the card.
That's a damn good jacket.
I have to put him on the card.
Oh, hey, if any of you are looking to buy the jacket, it's in person. It's nice. And we're not even like shop affiliates. God damn it. Come on. We're moving on though. I'll go end of Raw this week. Set something up. I think it's pretty obvious. We're getting a tag team match. The Usos will be returning as a tag team for the first time in a long time. It feels like Big Jim and Jey Uso will go up against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at WrestlePalooza. I'm looking forward to that match, I think. I think it's going to happen, and it's going to be good.
Yeah, we talked about kind of ESPN, I guess, with WWE pulling out all the stops. I mean, the Usos, right? Some people have them as the greatest tag team of all time, and you have this kind of next team up with division with Seth Rollins, right? Braun Breaker, the future. He's going to main event 15 WrestleManias or whatever it is. Paul Heyman always says this just kind of makes sense, and also storyline wise, it just makes sense. You're looking really from now to SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam. SummerSlam already happened. From now to Survivor Series. And you really kind of got to build those teams up, building each side up. So it really just kind of flows kind of perfectly.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be awesome to see the Usos together at the end of the day. Like when Big Jim ran out there, I was like, oh, I did kind of miss this. Like the brother thing, I kind of like that. I do kind of want to add on to this though while we're here. With Raw kind of setting up the Usos taking on Braun and Bronson, that leaves LA Knight out of things again. Where do we kind of see LA Knight going from here?
Yeah, I think you kind of hinted at that in our Raw review, at least. He's kind of like a break glass in case of emergency. It's something we've said with LA Knight time and time again. I don't know if they really have a plan. I think they just know that he's really good. They know that the crowd likes him. They know that he can interact on the mic with just about anybody. And sometimes that's a fault, right? Sometimes it's like, okay, you could do great with anybody. Well, sometimes it ends up to where it doesn't end up working out in your favor, right? I think that's kind of where we're at with LA Knight. I think everybody knows the money feud is Rollins and Punk, right? Everybody kind of agrees there. You have Jay and Jimmy kind of reuniting. LA Knight's kind of on the back burner once again, which seems weird to say because you just brought him over to Raw, but I feel like that's what we got right now.
LA Knight always just seems to get hot at the most unfortunate times, really, because it feels like he's as hot as ever right now, probably since like the early 2023 days when the movement really started. But during that movement, Roman had both belts and he was a tribal chief and he wasn't losing until it was Cody Rhodes. The writing was on the wall there. Now LA Knight's getting hot again. The movement's kind of back, and you got Seth Rollins in the Vision, which that story's not ending anytime soon. And then you have Cody Rhodes, who just won the belt on SmackDown, and you know that's going to be a long title reign at the least. So it's just like, damn. It's unfortunate, man. LA Knight's one of the best. I don't know where they go with him from here. I guess you can just keep throwing him at Seth, and maybe one day you can give him a tease and almost give him the belt. I don't know, but it just seems like he just doesn't have good luck when it comes to these things.
No, and I mean, you kind of look, like I said, Survivor Series down the road. I obviously think he'll be on the side against the Vision, so you look at that. Maybe he ends up facing a Bronson Reed down the line, but at the same time, I know we just built up a lot of stock for Bronson Reed with the Roman Reigns stuff, but at the same time, that still just feels like a participation trophy, right? That does not feel, because you don't get Braun Breaker, right?
Yeah.
Because Braun Breaker, we think maybe Roman.
Yep.
So it's like, well, LA, here you go.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
All right, I got one more match on my card, and as I look down at my sheet, I already forgot one, and I think you're going to hit on it. So
I got two left.
Yeah, I know, and I think one of them you're definitely going to hit on. This one was my most iffy of it. I was just looking at the card. I'm like, a lot of Raw, and not a lot of women on this card once again. So we did on SmackDown last week. We got the wink, wink, nudge from Nick Aldis that Jade Cargill is the number one contender. So I have the SummerSlam match happening again. I do have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. I mean, do I personally want to see this? No, but at the same time, do I want to see Tiffany Stratton defend her title on the biggest stages in wrestling? Yes. So if the number one contender is Jade, I feel like we just got to throw this match on there, man. You got to get Tiff on the card at some point.
Yeah, when I was actually writing down my list, I had this on there, and I had question marks as well in terms of iffiness because I don't think Tiffany's run has been that great. They had the stuff with Jade. They backed off of it, and I'm like, well, I just don't know. I don't know if they pull the trigger. This would be a great spot if Bianca Belair was healthy. Maybe you have Tiffany versus Bianca, and you know for sure that that's getting on the card, something like that. But it feels weird in terms of Tiffany Stratton, kind of another future star, right? And Jade Cargill. I know Jade's maybe a little bit older. She's a little bit older than Tiffany, but WWE still saw her as a future star at one point. So it feels weird to not have either one of those two on the card. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the story's not really there. We just saw it, and you're like, do we really want to run that back again? I feel like they're really hesitant right now on Jade, and they're really just buying time that they don't know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get life back in that SmackDown division. They are begging for Bianca to return whenever that does happen.
Yep.
What else do you got?
Well, so I got two. One, you said you left off your card, so we'll talk about that one here in a minute. You talked about SmackDown just now, and you said a lot of Raw, a lot of Raw, a lot of Raw. Well, I have a SmackDown match. Wyatt Sicks versus Mystery is who I said.
Yeah.
I don't know which one of the tag teams it's going to be. They showed us with Clash in Paris, hey, we can put some characters out there with some masks. They look really cool. Oh, we can also promote something, right? In terms of a game or ESPN package or literally anything.
It is
right?
ESPN.
So I could see them throwing a SmackDown tag match on there. You have the larger than life characters, and while we are trying to be like as real as possible, WWE, there is still something to be said about like the mystique of the Wyatt Sicks that really you could bring in a separate audience, a different audience to be like, oh man, that's different. I like that sort of stuff. So I feel like there's some sort of appearance here, some sort of match. Like I said SmackDown tag. I don't really care what SmackDown tag it is. I feel like the Wyatts are going to hold those titles all the way until that Universal stuff's over with. But I just put it on there because it seems like a mystique thing. It seems like it could be making the card, even if I don't think that it should.
You could just, I don't know, you somehow get the Street Profits back on there and have the turn happen. If they're leaning into a Street Profits turn, you could just run it again. Do I want to see it? No. I'm not very bought in on the Wyatt Sicks. I do like seeing Bo in the back more. That was nice, so we'll see if that continues on SmackDown and stuff throughout. So if they do that, maybe it'll build my interest. But at the moment, I'm kind of out on them. And we saw them at Clash. I don't know. I don't know if they've earned it yet, but we have weeks, so who knows?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's one of those. That's probably the one that I'm most iffy on in terms of the predictions I put. But it seems like a real solid chance for WWE to say, "Hey, promotional match. Here we go. Hey, by the way, here's the Wyatts. They're super cool and spooky.
This is the NFL Red Zone."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was trying to think of different things. I thought maybe they'd plug the Universal stuff, but obviously Universal, ESPN's on Disney, so I don't think that's a go. I don't think they're going to be plugging that, but who really knows?
I don't know.
At this point.
Yeah. What was your last one? I think I could guess it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dirty Dom, AJ Styles, Intercontinental Championship. Can't believe I didn't have this written down. This one, AJ Styles does it. It's going to happen. Dom's going to walk into there with 2 belts. It's going to be phenomenal. 1 week of dirty 2 belts, and AJ Styles is finally going to get that win at WrestlePalooza.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about just WWE bringing in the biggest stars. Well, if you want to get some kind of like maybe some older viewers back, I mean, AJ Styles is a very household name to a lot of people, right? So go ahead and throw him on there. Also, Mysterio, very, famous wrestling name. You could throw him out there. Oh, well, that's Rey Mysterio's son. Okay. Well, I kind of want to watch this stuff now. Like you said, also, I think more than anything, it's that exposure for that AAA title. Once Dom takes it off of Kingo, Dom walks in with 2 belts. You say, hey, by the way, WWE, this is the AAA tag title.
Yep.
You can, or AAA, not tag title, but AAA world title. And you can get some sort of eyes. If you can pull any sort of portion of the audience over to see the AAA stuff, that's a success, right? So that's got to be on there. And then, like you said, AJ's getting the win here, and AJ can kind of have a nice icy run.
Yep, 100%. I don't really have much more to say. It'd be great for the AAA. That's a hell of a spot for AAA to be in, for that title to be on there. The one thing I want to do is that this is ESPN, and they love doing player comparisons. I hope when he's walking out there, I hope they compare him to Michael Jordan and LeBron and Tom Brady, all the GOAT, Patrick Mahomes. I think it'd be hilarious if he was compared to all the GOATs of sports. That'd be incredible. But he's not walking out there winning, so. But the match is going to happen. That's a good card. I feel like that's a solid card. I feel like we're going to be basically right. Maybe the Tiffany match and the Wyatt Sicks match, maybe those get booted. But everything else, I feel like that's going to stick.
Yeah, and we pretty much, I threw those on there. Well, you might even throw, we're talking about SmackDown, talking about big stars. You might throw a SmackDown women's match on there instead of a tag match. You might have Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus, I don't know, Secret Harvest for the 15th time. But they might throw that on there.
Kabuki Warriors, they're talking on Monday that they want the gold.
Yeah, they might throw that on there. There's got to be some sort of, we didn't put a ton of SmackDown. There's got to be more SmackDown added than what we probably think, and there's got to be more women on the card than we think. So yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and throw that on there too. Some sort of Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss title defense.
Absolutely works for me. Let us know in the comments what your match cards look like. I would love to see them and compare and contrast. I feel like a lot of us are going to say the same things, but I want to see what kind of creative stuff you guys come up with. That would be great. And for everything else, make sure to check out our live streams, youtube.com/@CODWrestlePod, where we live stream Raw, SmackDown, and PLEs, just like Wrestlepalooza. And then for everything else, it's @CODWrestlepod, COD WrestlePod. We have a link tree in our bio. It'll take you to all of our social medias where you can find all of our good stuff on TikTok, Twitter, all of that stuff. So come over there and subscribe and follow us. It'd be absolutely great. But I'm Will. That's Brandon with the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.